Program to balance the given chemical equation values x, y, p, q of a simple chemical equation of the type. The task is to find the values of constants B1, B2, B3 such that the equation is balanced on both sides and it must be in the reduced form. So what is your problem statement? You have to balance your chemical equation. Okay. So what are the inputs given? X, Y, P, Q. Okay. And what is your output? You have to find out. You have to find the values of the constants B1, B2, B3. So let me take the first equation. So let me go on to your basics first. Only then you will be able to understand, right? Which you already know it. So let me write one equation. Okay. First equation I am taking it as aluminium plus oxygen, okay, will give you, what is your value? You will be getting aluminium oxide, Al2O3, right? Now it is not in a balanced form. Balanced means you have to make the number of atoms in both LHS and your, so this is your LHS left hand side and your RHS as equal. Okay, so how will you balance the equation? So this is your equation. Now you are going to balance the equation, right? So what is meant by balancing? You are going to make the values of atoms in both LHS and RHS as equal. That is called as balancing. So now let me go on to your topic. So you have the inputs x, y, p, q. So what is meant by x, y, p, q is x and y are your values of your suffix values in your LHS and your uh, P and Q is your suffix value in your RHS. So in chemistry, you know that the LHS of your chemical equation is called by, what is the name? It is called as reactants, and in your RHS, it is called as your product term, right? It is called as product. So this program is written for the case where you have two reactants and one product, some of the two reactants and only one product term. Okay, so in similar fashion, you can take couple of other equations also. Okay, so I am repeating it once again. What are the inputs? The suffix of x, y, p and q. Now what you have to find out as the output? You have to balance the equation, right? So you have to find out the constants, okay, which will be preceded. So your constant here, it will be equal to b1, b2 and b3. So what are your constants now? The constants will be, okay, so b1, b2, b3. So what will be your values? So if I balance the equation here, you will be getting it as 4Al plus 3O2, which will be giving you 2Al2O3. So see here in the right hand side, you will be having 4 aluminium. Here also in LHS also I have got 4 aluminium. So in the right hand side, how much oxygen atoms you will be having? 2 3s are 6, right? Here also I have made it as 6. So this is how you have to balance the equation. This you are going to do by means of your program, C program. Okay, I hope you have understood this. So let me write it once again. Your coefficients, I can tell it as the coefficients also. So B1 Al plus B2 O2. So I can write here, yeah, O2, which will give you B3 Al2O3. Now you have to find out the values of this coefficients B1, B2 and B3. And what are your inputs? Input is your X, Y, suffix which is in the left hand side, and suffix of your right hand side, that is your product terms P and Q. Now you know to take the values. What will be the input? You have to give it as 1, 2 will be your input, and your second inputs will be P and Q will be equal to 2 and 3. I hope you are able to understand this, right? So now you are going to write the program for this, and your aim is to find out the value 4, 3 and 2. That is nothing but B1, B2 and B3, such that your equation will get balanced. Okay. Now you are going to use this by means of two important steps. Okay. So in step 1, what you're going to do is, let me tell you in short first the overall idea. There are two function calls which is used. Step 1, you're going to find out the product of this P and Y and Q and X. Okay, so what is your P? I'm taking the new value of P as the product of P and Y, and the new value for Q as equal to product of Q and X. What is the value for P and Y? In this case, what is your P? P is equal to 2. In this case, y is equal to 2, right? 2 into 2, you will be getting it as 4. Now what is your q value? new Q value will be equal to 3 into X is equal to 1. So 3 into 1, which is equal to 3. So what is the third coefficients? First you are going to find out your B3 also. B3 will be equal to X into Y. So this three steps you have to remember, X into Y. So what is the value for X into Y? 2 into 1, which is equal to 2. Okay, so this is your first step what you are going to do. And your second step is you are going to find out your next function call, that is your greatest common divisor. So among these three, what is your greatest common divisor? 4, 3, 2. So you have 3 here, right? So the highest common factor or your greatest GCD will be equal to 1. Okay, so second step I am telling you, you have to find out the GCD, and now you can find out the coefficients B1, B2, B3 is equal to, what is your B1? B1 will be equal to P divided by your GCD value. What is your GCD? 1, right? GCD value. So what is your P divided by 1? It will be equal to 4. What will be your B2? B2 is equal to 3 divided by GCD, which is equal to 1, right? GCD is equal to 1. So you'll be getting it as 3. Now B3 is equal to, what is the value? Already you have calculated, it is equal to 2. 2 divided by GCD, which is equal to 1, 2. See, compare it and see whether you are getting 4, 3 and 2. Here you are getting B1 4, B2 3 and B3 2. So this is the procedure which you have to follow for any equations which is in this form. 2 reactants and 1 product term. Okay, so let me take the second equation. Okay, so I'll tell 2 or 3 equations and remaining you can do it as a homework. Okay, so now let me take the second equation, hydrogen plus oxygen, which will give you water. Okay, so how can you tell that it is a balanced equation? Now if I give here, you have here 2 hydrogen atom, right? 2 and oxygen is equal to 2, so you have to make hydrogen as 4 atoms, right? Now it is balanced, right? 2H2 plus O2 gives 2H2O. Now what is your X and Y? X is equal to 2, Y is equal to 2. What is your P? P is equal to 2. And what is your Q? Q is equal to 1, right? So till this you are clear, I hope so. Now what is your aim? You have to find out this B1, B2, right? B2, B1, B2 and B3. So you have to get the answer as 2, 1, 2. Okay. So for that, what is your step 1? Multiply P and Y. Step 2, multiply Q and X. Okay. So now what is your new term? P is equal to P into Y. What you are getting? P is equal to 2. Y is equal to 2. So 2 into 2, which is equal to 4. Right. Now what is your Q? Q is equal to Q into X. What is your Q value? 1, right? 1 into what is your X value? 2, which is equal to 2. And now what is your B3? B3 coefficient? X into Y. So this is your third step. So what is your X into Y? 2 into 2, which is equal to 4. Okay. So 4, 2, 4. This will be your step 1. Okay. Now what will be your step 2? I have told you, you have to find out your greatest common divisor, right? GCD, or your highest common factor. So what will be your GCD of 4, 2 and 4? It is divisible by the highest factor, which is divisible is 2, right? So now your GCD of these three factors will be equal to 2. Now you have to divide by B1. What will be your coefficients? B1, B2, B3. B1 will be equal to P divided by GCD. B2 will be equal to Q divided by GCD, and B3 will be equal to B3 divided by GCD. Already you have calculated B3, right? So what will be your first one? 4 divided by 2, which will be equal to 2. What will be your B2? B2 will be equal to Q. Q is equal to 2 divided by 2, which is equal to 1. And what will be your B3? B3 is equal to 4, right? Already you have calculated 4 divided by 2, which is equal to 2. Are you getting the value? 2, 1, 2, 2, 1, 2, which is equal to B1, 2, B2, 1, B3, 2, right? So in this way, you can follow any number of equations. Do you want me to give one more equation? So let me write the third equation. Okay. So let me just grab it. So I am taking the third equation. So I can take the third equation as sodium plus chlorine, which will give you sodium chloride. So what will be your equation? Sodium plus chlorine. You can try by yourself. Okay, so now let me take the third equation. So third equation is sodium plus chlorine will give you sodium, sodium plus chlorine will give you sodium chloride. So how will you balance this equation? So here you have 2 chlorine, right? So if I put here 2 and here 2, the equation will get balanced. So what is your x? X is equal to 1, y is equal to 2. What is your p and q? P is equal to 1, right? And q is equal to 1. So what is your step 1? Step 1 is equal to p into y, then q into x. Step 2, then x into y. That is your third equation, right? So what will be your new value for p? P will be equal to p into y. So 1 into 2, which is equal to 2. Then what is your next q value? Q is equal to q into x, which is equal to chlorine is 1. What is your x value? X is equal to, again it is equal to 1, right? 1 into 1, which is equal to 1. What is your B3? X into y. So what is your x into y? X is equal to 1 into y is equal to 2, right? So which is equal to 2. So 2, 1, 2. What is your GCD of these three numbers? You have 1, right? So obviously your GCD will be equal to 1. Now what will be your step 2? Step 2, you are going to find out the coefficients B1, B2, B3, which is equal to P by GCD. So everything divided by 1, right? Q by GCD and B3 divided by GCD. So what will be your value? 2 divided by 1, 2, 1 and 2. So did you get the value? B1 is equal to 2, B2 is equal to 1 and B3 is equal to 2. Clear? So you can take any equations. So finally, let me tell you one more equation, carbon plus oxygen, which will give you carbon dioxide. Okay, C plus O2, which will give you CO2. This also you can try by yourself. Okay, so these are the 4 equations you can try. So for exam, you can go forward with any one equation. Let me first do this calculation by means of the first equation, aluminium plus oxygen, which will give you aluminium oxide. Okay, so these are the equations which you can practice. For each equation you can do the homework. Okay, so let me start the program. So how will your program start? I have told you you have 2 steps to be followed. So there is 2 function calls. One is to find out the parameters, that is the modified value for p, q and b3, and the second one is to find out the value for your GCD. Okay, so let me start the program. Include stdio.h, which will indicate the start and end. Means you can use the printf and scanf statement, standard input output header file. Okay, and this is optional. Include console input output header file. So in main, which will indicate the start of the program. So now you see here very carefully. So you know that this is your main program because there is an int main. Okay, so open the curly braces, int k comma l comma m comma n. So what is the meaning of this? You know that 4 variables are declared, k, l, m, n, of the data type integer. Okay, so actually what is your parameter, input parameter here in your question? X, y, p and q. Okay, so printf, enter the nature of reactance. So first you are going to find out the reactance. I have told you LHS is reactance and RHS is your product term. So reactance, you are taking the parameter as x and y. So your x and y will be stored in your k and l. Okay, don't forget this, k and l. Okay, so see, enter the atomic reactance. So if I take the first equation, what is your x? You are going to enter Al, aluminium, it is equal to 1, and what is your y? The value will be entered as 2, right? So where it will go and store? Percentage scanf, percentage d. Why percentage d? Because it is integer. So the format specifier is percentage d comma ampersand k ampersand l. It will go and store in the memory location of your k and l, address of your k and l. Okay, so k will be having your x value and y will be l will be having your y value. So ultimately k will be 1 and l will be equal to 2. Clear? Similarly, same thing, you are going to store your P and Q. You are going to give the other two inputs. Printf, enter the atomic nature of the products P and Q. What is your P and Q? Aluminium is 2, oxygen is equal to 3, right? So aluminium is equal to P is equal to 2 and Q will be equal to 3. 2 and 3 are the values you are going to enter. Where it will go and store? It will go and store in M and N. Okay. So see here, scanf percentage D comma ampersand M comma ampersand N semicolon. So I think you know all these things, right? Now see here, the compiler will understand that it is a function called balance k comma L comma M comma N. Balance. Now the compiler will see where is this program for this function balance k comma L comma M comma N. Your main program is getting over. So once the compiler comes here, it will search for this corresponding program. So whether it is in this side, no, it is int GCD. This is another function call. Okay. So let me go to the next continuation of the program. So you will be having. Now once the compiler comes here, you can understand that right here there is a function, right? So int balance data type, your function name balance. So what is the parameter here? Formal parameters x, y, p and q. So the parameters will be passed here, right? K will be passed here, L, M, N. Now k will be passed to x, L will be passed to y, M will be passed to p and N will be passed to q. I hope you know this concept, right? We have studied in the functions. So int balance x comma y comma p comma q. Now open the curly braces. Now what you are going to do? You are going to find the formula, right? So you are going to do that three equations. So int b1 comma b2 comma b3 comma temp. What is the meaning of this? You are declaring 1, 2, 3, 4 variables, right? Of the data type integer, and it checks the equation now. If it checks the condition. If p, so what was your value? Let me write the value once again. X, y, then p and q. What is your x? X was is equal to 1. X is equal to 1. What is your y? Y is equal to 2. What is your q? P is equal to 2 and q is equal to 3. Okay, so that it will be easy for you. So x, y and p, q. Now what you are going to do? You are finding what is the condition, whether p modulo x. So whether p modulo x is equal to 0 and whether q modulo y, whether it is equal to 0. So these are the conditions which you are going to check. So let me check the first condition, whether p modulo x, whether 2 modulo 1 is equal to 0 and whether q 3 modulo 2 is equal to 0. So if both the condition is true only, it will enter into your if statement, right? So here what will be the answer? Yes, 2 modulo 1 is equal to 0. So it is true. But here 3 modulo 2 is not equal to 0. So the condition is false, right? So I hope that you know this concept, right? So it will not enter into the if statement. So it is one is true, one is false. So it will come and execute the else statement. So else what you have to do now, P is equal to P cross, as I have mentioned before. So P is equal to P cross Q. Now P will be equal to, what is the value for P? P is equal to 2. 2 cross what is your Y? Y is equal to 2. So P will be, current value for P will be equal to 4. 4 will be assigned to P. Okay. Similarly, Q is equal to Q into X. What is your Q? Q is equal to 3. 3 into what is your X? X is equal to 1. So you will be getting it as 3. Now what will be your B3? B3 is equal to X into Y. So 2 into 1. So 1 into 2, which is equal to 2. So now you have got 4, 3 and 2. I hope you are clear with this concept, right? Now, what is the next step two? You have to find out the GCD. That's why you're going for your next function call. So once this is executed, now you have got the new value for P as 4, Q as 3 and B3 as 2. What is the next instruction? Temp is equal to GCD of P comma GCD of Q comma B3. This is a recurring function, right? So first you will be executing this function GCD of Q comma B3. So now the compiler will stop here and the control will go to this function call, right? GCD. So it will check for the function program GCD. So it will check in the program, where is it? So we have seen the before, right? So now the control will come here, the compiler will come here, int gcd of int a comma int b. So what was the previous point? So I have, for your clarity, I have written the main program here. So gcd of q comma b3, right? Now q will be passed to your a and b3 will be passed through to your b. So what was your value for q? Q was equal to 3 and b was equal to 2. Now a will be equal to 3 and b will be equal to 2. Clear till this? Okay, now this is the function definition, right? Function body, it enters into the function int HCF. It is declaring a variable HCF of the data type integer. Now you have the for loop. For int I is equal to 1. So here before you have not declared I, that's why here itself you can write the data type. Int I is equal to 1. I is initialized to 1. It checks the condition. Two conditions are to be checked. Whether I is less than or equal to A. What is I? I is 1. 1 is less than or equal to A is 3, and whether I is, that is 1 is less than or equal to 2, right? B is 2. So both should be true. Only then it will enter into the loop. Whether 1 is less than or equal to 3, yes, true. Whether 1 is less than or equal to 2, yes, it is true. Now it enters into the loop. Now again it checks the condition. If A modulo I is equal to 0, what is your A? 3. Whether 3 modulo I is equal to 1, right? Is equal to 0. Yes, this condition is true. Remainder is 0. Similarly, B modulo. So 2 modulo 1 is equal to 0. Anything modulo 1 will be equal to 0 only. Both the condition is true, right? So now again I will be incremented. Now I will be equal to 2, right? Again it checks the condition whether 2 is less than or equal to 3 and whether 2 is less than or equal to 2. Yes, both the condition is true. Again it enters into the loop. But the next time it will check the condition, right? Whether A modulo I. Now I this time is 2. Whether 2 modulo 3 modulo 2 is equal to 0. No, it is false. Now it will come out of the loop, right? So B modulo here 2 modulo 2, it is equal to 0, but this is equal to false. So it will come out of the loop and I will be maintained in the value of previous value itself. I will be equal to 1 itself. Now HCF is equal to I. What is your HCF? I is equal to 1 only. So HCF will be maintained in 1. Now return HCF. It will come out of the loop. It returns the value. HCF will be equal to 1 will be returned to your GCD Q comma B3. Now this will be replaced by the value as 1. Right? HCF value will be replaced. Now again it is a function called GCD of, what will be this step now? GCD of P comma 1. Again the compiler will come to, the control will come here, again it executes the same step. So int gcd of, what will be the value for A? P value will be passed here, right? What is your value for P here? P now current value is equal to 4. Updated value is equal to 4, and what is the second value? It is equal to 1. So A will be equal to 4 and B will be equal to 1. So same procedure you are going to, so let me use this. Okay, so what will be your A is equal to 1 and B is equal to, sorry, A is equal to 4 and B is equal to 1, right? So let me do this, right? What is a condition? So whether I is equal to 1, it enters into the, you know, all these things, right? So whether 1 is less than or equal to, what is 4, and whether 1 is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so only this condition, both the conditions are true, only once it will work, right? It is true, it enters into the loop whether A modulo I, what is your A? Whether 4 modulo I is equal to 1, right? Whether 4 modulo 1 is equal to 0, yes, it is true. Whether B modulo I, what is your B value? Whether 1 modulo 1 is equal to 0, yes, it is true. Both are true. HCF will again be retained in value of I itself. HCF will be equal to 1 because second time this condition will be false. It will not enter into the loop. Okay. Again, HCF value will be retained. HCF will be equal to 1 will be replaced here. So temp will be ultimately equal to HCF value, right? 1. Temp will be equal to, now it will be having the value of 1. Once you have got the temp value, you are going to do the coefficients B1, B2, B3 as I have mentioned in the beginning, step 1, step 2, step 3. Now what will be your B1? B1 will be equal to 4, P is equal to 4, right? 4 divided by 1, B2 is equal to Q divided by, Q is equal to 3, right? 3 divided by 1, and B3 is equal to, what is your B3 value? 2, 2 divided by 1. So what will be your value? 4, 3 and 2. 4, 3 and 2. So are you getting the balanced equation? B1 is equal to 4, B2 is equal to 3 and B3 is equal to 2. So what will be your equation? 4 aluminium plus 3 oxygen will be equal to 2 aluminium oxide. Okay, to Al2O3. So B1 is equal to 4, B2 is equal to 3 and B3 is equal to 2. Same thing you can proceed for your water also. Okay. So and all other equations, 2H2 plus O2 which gives 2H2O. If you want the explanation of this, you can comment in the comment box. Okay, I'll put a separate video for this equation. Okay, so this is how you can balance the chemical equation. So this is your output window. Okay, so the output window I have taken for 3 different cases. So the first case is for your first equation which I have explained you. So 4 aluminium plus 3 oxygen will be giving you aluminium oxide 2Al2O3. Okay, so see here x and y is given as, what is the value? X is given as 1, y is given as 2, right? P is given as 2 and Q is given as 3. Okay, you are getting the coefficients B1 as 4, B2 as 3 and B3 as 2. Okay, and similarly for this second one I have done it once again for the second equation. So here it is for your hydrogen plus oxygen which will give you water. Okay, 2H2 plus O2 will give you 2H2O. So see the values, x is equal to 2, y is equal to 2, p is equal to 2, q is equal to 1. What are the coefficients you have got? 2, 1, right? B1 and 2. B3 is 2. Okay, so these are the two equations, and the third one I have given for your sodium and chloride. Okay, so if I take sodium plus chlorine which gives you sodium chloride. So how will you balance it? 2Na plus Cl2 which will give you 2NaCl. Okay, so see here x is equal to 1, y is equal to 2, p is equal to 1, q is equal to 1. What are the coefficients? B1 is 2, B2 is 1 and B3 is 2. Okay, these are the 3 different equations. So if you want the program of this experiment, you can just give me a message in the comment box. I can send it in through my Telegram channel. Okay.